Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and I'll be talking about the patch notes for patch 14 of Space Marine 2. This is called the Confrontation Update. It came out around like 5 minutes ago, and this one gives us the Salamander's Champion Pack 2, Raptor's Cosmetic Pack, 6 new heroic weapons, the Combi Flamer, Salamander's Melter Rifle, Stalker Bolt Rifle Deathwatch variant, Salamander's Power Sword, Deathwatch Power Fist, and of course, the Lord Executioner's Axe. Now, we also have brand new PvP weekly rewards and a new boss, and they're going to go into all the changes they brought with this one. So first up, we have new features, a new PvP map, Sanctum. Sanctum is a medium-sized PvP map built for dynamic, and exciting battles. The map features open combat areas, fast routes to key engagement zones, and a central area designed as the main hotspot for intense fights. The other map here is the new PvP map Facility. Facility is one of the most compact PvP maps designed for fast-paced and intense combat. The map maximizes opportunities for flanking attacks, rotations, and outmaneuvering enemies. So we see some images here. These ones actually look pretty cool. We did get some previous screenshots of all of these you can see here, but as far as PvP goes, I think most players, even with the new weekly rewards, are not going to be that interested in the PvP, but it is nice for that dedicated player base. Now, the big selling point of this patch is the new enemy, the Scarab Occult Terminator Sorcerer. Meet the new Terminus enemy, the Scarab Occult Terminator Sorcerer, part of the Mighty Thousand Suns. He wields powerful magic for both close and long range attacks, and is also capable of creating potent illusions. So I do have a full guide for this guy on the channel already. He has not changed that much from the PTS, but he's still in a pretty, he's a pretty rough boss, so his moveset definitely needs some learning. The next thing here is a new feature, new medals and scores for PvP. Medals and achievements enhance visual effects that highlight a player's accomplishments during a match. They affect match statistics and experience points a player earns. New feature, Trials of Resolve number 2. 4 new challenging ordeals to get new items have been added, designed for experienced players. This is for the tabards and cloaks. Just keep in mind, the previous patch 13 Trials of Resolve were far more substantial. In this one, we got like capes in that one. This one is just tabards and the robes for the assault and tactical predominantly, and not as extensive as the prior options. New feature, Wargear 2.01. This is a small intermediate update to the Wargear system. We are adding a third Wargear slot to some classes, so tabards and capes can be equipped at the same time. We actually had some data mines for this, so that's good to see. This is why some tabards were removed from some chest pieces in this patch in preparation to be moved to a separate slot. With patch 15, you will be able to equip everything together. In addition to that, with the next update, robes and tabards are coming to Vanguard and Heavy. Capes for Bulwarks are also in the works, however it will take a bit more time, not in patch 15, since robes need to be removed from chest pieces first. So we already know the Space Wolves champion will have a cape, so it will be available on that, but like eventually you will be getting capes for Bulwarks, and also the new Wargear slot we had as a data mine that's also coming in patch 15, so that's nice to have there. And they also said, oh, and something we should have done a long time ago, customization feature also coming in patch 15. So we'll have to see what that is, and probably the next community update. Now, next they say here, robes for the assault and tactical class have been added, along with the tabards for the assault class, which can be earned by completing new ordeals. And the new feature, weekly rewards for participation in PvP, earn accolades for participating in PvP on a weekly basis. And a new feature, PvP team reshuffle. At the end of a PvP match, players will be randomly assigned to teams based on match results. Experimental feature will be turned on and off on the back end. So this is mainly so you don't have absolute sweats in the PvP shit stomping all the new players, but that's probably going to happen no matter what. Next, they have new heroic items. They've added 6 new heroic weapons, or Thunderhammer, Power Fist, Bolt Carbine, Melter Rifle, Power Sword, and Stalker Bolt Rifle, and they've added 4 heroic armors, Deathwatch Hand, Chest, Ultramarine Chapter Pauldron, and parts to unlock with the accolades. Say 4 heroic armors, this is only 3. Interesting they said that there. There is also the Aquila chest piece in the store from the Twitch drops, so you can also get that, but it's not mentioned here. Next, they have new season pass content, Salamander's Champion signature multi-melta weapon skin, Raptor's cosmetic pack, and gameplay and balancing tweaks. This is like the real stuff you want to get into here. Number 1, firearms and PvE. The heroic bolt pistol damage increased by 15%. This is a 5% decrease from the public test server, if I remember correctly. That will probably lower the gunstrike damage a little bit on this option, but the heroic bolt pistol definitely feels better with this patch. And next they have secondary bolt carbine. Maximum ammo increased by 2 magazines for all versions. They add 2 magazines instead of 1. Okay, so they finally listened to feedback that this weapon's ammunition economy was just god awful, and in the PTS they gave us 1 mag, but 2 was definitely necessary because it always felt like you're running out like 1 mag too early. Next, they have Pyro Cannon, increased range by 15% in both stances. Both stances, that's actually pretty good. So this is like the same buff we saw in the PTS. And next, they have Burn Damage. Aspect Scan no longer affects burn damage. A goodbye to the McRib, the greatest Pyroblaster build ever on the Tactical. It is gone. This was like one of the most broken builds in hard strats. He still has incredibly powerful options with the Heroic Heavy Bolt Rifle, but the Aspect Scan doesn't affect burn damage anymore, which kind of sucks. Next, they have Melee and PvE, the Omniscient Axe. Explosive Strike perk of the Omniscient Axe now causes an energy explosion at the point of impact on the enemy. Ultimate ratio, Heroic Omniscient Axe, the time to reach maximum additional damage reduced by 35%. I mean, that's nice for this one, but the ultimate ratio is still like the worst heroic option in the entire game, which does kind of suck, but it's just the way it is. Next, they have new heroic weapons. Following your feedback on the PTS, the 6 new heroic weapon received buffs. Salamander's Power Sword. We understand a lot of you wanted it to be a burning blade, but only Gilliman gets to wield one. That's not entirely, I mean, maybe like a literal burning blade, but I mean, having a melted Power Sword cause a burning effect, this is a really weird thing. This must have been a Games Workshop thing. I find it hard to believe that, like, as a dev team, they said no. A fixed perk activation now should work according to the description and should affect only light attacks. Increase max stacks from 5 to 6, and they've also increased the number of stacks you gain per perfect parry from 1 to 3. So they have nerfed it from the PTS. They also buffed it up to actually work and give you more power stacks. So this is actually a pretty good option right now. If you want the Salamander's Power Sword, it's definitely a decent choice, but it does not cause enemies to light on fire. Next, they have Combi Flamer Bolt Carbine. Increased damage by 20% for the bolter barrel. That's actually really good because this thing was way underpowered in the PTS in terms of like direct damage. It's still not as strong as a relic tier option, but you also have a burn status effect you can combine with increased burn status effect accumulation speed for the Flamer barrel. Next, they have fixed ammo refill for the Flamer barrel as well. Okay, so this was a bug that was on the PTS where basically you could not get back ammo on the Flamer at all, but that's been fixed. Next, they have Deathwatch Stalker Bolt Rifle. Decreased number of body shots to activate the perk effect from 5 to 4. Perk now activates on any body shots, not on body shots on a single target. I mean, that's okay, but this thing has a piercing of 1. That's still just not that strong. They did buff up the headshot damage multiplier here to match relic versions, but it's like kind of the antithesis of what you want here for the heroic perk effect, where you want body shots from that perk effect, but you also want your headshot damage because your headshot damage multiplier is equal to a relic tier version. That seems a little silly. It says increased perk damage bonus of 30% versus Minoris, Majoris, and Extremis enemies, and to 10% versus Terminus enemies. Okay, so the way this one's perk effect is working on the PTS is that the Aspect Scan from the Deathwatch Stalker Bolt Rifle is completely separate from the Aspect Scan on the Tactical class, and because of that, it had like its own separate damage buff. In this case, it's 30% versus Minoris, Majoris, and Extremis, and 10% versus bosses, which is okay as a damage buff, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't benefit from anything on the Stalker, on the Tactical perk tree either. So this one's okay. I think it's actually probably the weaker options on the new range variants, but it's still a bit better than it was. Next, we have Salamander's Melter Rifle. Increased damage fall off range, increased damage by 10%. Okay, so it's just a little bit better here. The damage buff is definitely nice. Increased the damage fall off range is also pretty nice because that was a big issue. Also, Deathwatch Power Fist, improved animation responsiveness for anti-Melta Blast stance. Fixed tracking for the Melta Blast move, a greatly increased direct damage for the Melta Blast move. Melta Blast burn effect AoE is slightly wider, and they've added directional input to the Melta Blast move. Okay, so it's just way more responsive now, but I still think all the other Power Fists are a bit better. Next, they have Lord Executioner's Axe, and now properly restores contested health and new attacks, and that is pretty much all there is for the buffs here. We already knew about this one, so it seems like Saber agreed. The Lord Executioner's Axe was already in a really good spot, so it did not need a ton of changes. Next, we have PvE perks. This patch is very light on perk changes, but big promise rework is coming for Tactical class with the next update. Perk Methodical Destruction now works with Prometheum cans. Wow. So yeah, all the classes are the same. All their best builds are pretty much the same, and that's kind of what we expected. This is a smaller patch. Next, I say PvP balance tweaks. This is mostly for the removed progression in PvP. You will now get all the weapons and equipment at level 1 because, you know, they want people to play PvP, and getting shit on them is not very fun for them. They wanted to make the Eternal War more accessible for everybody, but I'll be real. Eternal War will always be a bit of a sweaty mode because Eternal War is an arena shooter, and arena shooters in the Big 26, that's just kind of what they turn into. They're a pretty niche type of game, and you see the same thing happen in Gears of War. So we'll see how this works out for the player base. I hope it works out well for like the overall progression of all the modes, or say the cross progression of the modes, but I think Eternal War has just kind of been an eternal slumber for quite a bit. Sorry for the pun. Next we have Shock Grenade. Blindness radius reduced from 9 to 4 meters. Blindness duration reduced from 1.5 to 1.1 seconds. That's a nice fix because shock grenades are pretty toxic in the PvP. Next they have Crack Grenades. Now always destroys the Heavy's Iron Halo. And Assault, they have reduced his ground pound a ton because Assault ground pound is like nuts in the PvP at times, but they've nerfed him a bit. Next, they have partially revert outer damage radius from some weapons compared to the PTS, and ability to charge cooldowns increased from 12 to 16 seconds. Okay, and Vanguard, ability to charge cooldowns reduced from 30 to 18 seconds, and ability damage is increased from 10 to 25. So these are all PvP changes, just to be clear, because some people get confused in the patch notes. These are not for the PvE at all. This is only affecting the PvP. Next, they have Bulwark. The damage cap required to knock Bulwark out of a shield stance is reduced from 300 to 200. And now we have some Ordeal and Siege mode changes. Number one, Ordeals. Reduce the number of kills required for the new Eternal War Ordeals to 50, 200, and 500 compared to the PTS requirements. So all you have to do is kill 500 guys for like melee and range. That's pretty easy, but if you really don't care about like actually playing the PvP in the game, you can also do these in the private mode, so just keep that in mind. Now, this is the Siege mode change. Tech Priest. Effectiveness has been greatly reduced. Base max income that starts at 720 for the team and gradually decreases with each wave to 300 at wave 30 plus, like all other sources of income. So Tech Priests were kind of like the mandatory pick in the patch 13 and beyond, really, with the Siege mode rework. And I don't know if this nerf was necessary because they're still the de facto pick. Like anything that ups your income will always be top tier in that mode, but I guess they want to do this. That's what they did. And next they have increased wave completion and side objective resource rewards by 20% to kind of make up for this. And then they've increased enemy damage resistant caps on high waves from 60% to 72% and from 80% to 88% for Terminus enemies. The Scarab Occult Terminator Sorcerer has been added as a mini boss, and Siege mode accolade rewards are now given based on reaching wave 15, not surviving 15 waves. Okay, so they fixed that as well. And next they have levels, lots of minor fixes, level geometry, customization, added robes for the assault class, all the new Ordeal stuff, the Mark X for Pristine Quill to Refinement Redemption Shop, Free Raptors knee decal, Black Templar Champion backpack split into 2 parts, skeleton parts now part of the Wargear slot, and can be used on the heavy class. Now, here is the big thing. Enemies, lots of minor fixes with the animation. Scarab Occult Terminator Sorcerer. Third flurry attack is now repostable in both combo variations. Okay, because this guy was very obnoxious to get gun strikes on previously. It said reduce beam attack damage by 33%. Thank God. Increased beam attack cooldown by 15%. Also, thank God. Perfect dodging beam attack now applies a gun strike mark. We already knew this was definitely going to happen because we heard the sound effect, but thank God for that as well. Beam attack illusions follow up now has an 8-second cooldown. Thank God. Beam attack illusions follow up is slightly easier to avoid. Split into 3 illusions attack is no longer interruptible. Okay, so it'll always do this 100% of the time. And they've reduced the HP of illusions by 15%. And this is like the biggest thing here because the clones he would summon were positively cracked. So thank God for that. Illusions focus slightly less on range attacks. I mean, these all sound like amazing changes to me. Radial beam attack cooldown increased by 25%. Follow-up attacks will happen with a slightly bigger delay. AI director reinforcement waves no longer include range Scarab Occult Terminator Sorcerers, so you will not get a minigun Terminator on top of the Scarab Occult guy, and also they will have a lesser chance of lesser sorcerers, so it's mostly going to be melee guys on top of him because he is the range boss. Okay, these seem like amazing fixes all over. This is way more than I expected, actually. I thought they were only going to change the illusions, but this guy is now way easier than he was in the PTS, and that was pretty mandatory because he was cracked. He was way too hard. He was way too hard compared to the Hellbrood, and he was a positively diabolical boss for a lot of builds in the game. Next, they just have a bunch of general fixes. So we have stuff like they fixed the split up bug. We have Vanguard's tactical prowess perk not working on zone thropes. In some rare cases, they fixed that. I've definitely encountered that myself. They fixed a bug, the Bolt Sniper Rifle Strong Start perk not working consistently. Okay, that was definitely a good bug fix. And then we have some fixes to the accolades rewards, and this is pretty good for the most part here. It's mostly just like crack and penetrate rounds. This is a big one. Class perk affecting burn damage when switching to bolt weapon. Class perk affecting projectile weapons, grenade launchers when switching to a bolt weapon as they fly. So crack and penetrator rounds, the fabled bug has been nerfed, but tactical is still tactical. And as far as tech goes, it's just crash fixes, memory optimizations, and minor performance improvements. And that is everything we have for patch 14. There's actually a lot here in terms of changes, and the new heroic weapons seem pretty good. I think most of the buffs here are decent. The Deathwatch Stalker Bolt Rifle should definitely take a look at this at some point in the future. But that is all I have to say on this one, guys. Let me know how you feel about the changes in the comment section below. Keep in mind that patch 15 is like right around the corner in September, so we're not waiting very long between patches here. This is like a holdover patch, but there's actually a pretty substantial amount in this one. But if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And if you want to catch me live to watch me cover all the new builds for this patch, I am actually live right now, and you can find me on Twitch with a link in the description. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye.